Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, today I rise because I do find this bill extreme and radical. But most importantly, I rise to be a voice for the unborn, to be a voice for the voiceless, because everyone deserves a birthday. See, not only do I have concerns that this bill will entirely gut the parental notification statutes that we have on our books, and I, quite frankly, haven't even heard any comments from supporters of the bill to make that abundantly clear that it was not their intent. We've heard statements that these statutes will remain in place, but then as we've talked in length about, that'll be adjudicated in the courts later. So I'd love to hear a clear-cut statement that it is not the intent of this bill, and that the intent is to leave those statutes in place. But see, although that's a concern for me, again, I rise to be a voice for the unborn, because everyone deserves a birthday. I find this bill too extreme and radical when it mentions that we can't have any government rules, regulations, anything regarding even things like postnatal care. Postnatal care, let's think about that. We're talking about a baby that's born alive, and we can't do anything to make sure that that baby gets the life-saving care that they deserve. People like Gianna Jessen doesn't get the care that she received so that she could come here decades ago and speak before this chamber. Postnatal care, what else does that mean? Does that mean that those precious parts get sold for profit and we can't do anything, can't have any regulations about it? Again, that's a concern, but I'm here mostly to give a voice for the voiceless, a voice for the unborn, because they deserve a birthday. I find this bill too extreme and radical when it could very well gut the statutes that we have in place that give justice for babies that are killed and murdered in a non-elective procedure. We've heard that this bill's about choice, but when the minority party tried to run amendments to make sure that our criminal statutes would give the ability for district attorneys to seek justice for babies that are criminally aborted, those amendments failed. Those were cases where we're talking about it was the woman's choice to have the baby, and now this bill could gut that justice for not only that mom, but that baby as well. I find that very radical and extreme. But again, I'm here to give a voice for the voiceless, because everyone deserves a birthday. I find this bill too extreme and radical when it has the very likely possibility of preventing free speech from not only elected officials but others in the broad applicability section within the law that prevents local governments from enacting ordinances, resolutions, memorials, possibly even permits for people that want to speak on a pro-life basis. That's extreme and radical. But again, I'm here mostly to be a voice for the voiceless, a voice for the unborn, because everyone deserves a birthday. I rise today because I truly do think that the pro-life side will be the right side of history, and the history will look back on this bill in a very negative manner. But again, I rise mostly to be a voice for the voiceless, a voice for the unborn, because everyone deserves a birthday. I rise in opposition today and find this bill extreme and radical because it allows late-term abortion, something that I do find absolutely barbaric and horrific. We are talking about ripping the parts, crushing the skulls of babies prior to pulling them out of a mother's womb. And that's why I'm here, to be a voice for the voiceless, a voice for the unborn, because everyone deserves a birthday. I find this bill too extreme and radical because it will disallow for any sort of informed consent from women when they receive an abortion. I rise to speak for them because I've spoken to many of them who've gone through the grieving process, and the Lord forgives them, for they know not what they do. And quite frankly, I myself am a sinner, and in my Lord's eyes, he sees sin no differently. And so I cannot judge those women and the decisions they've made in the past, for I am sinned as well, but through Christ Jesus, I have found forgiveness. But this bill will not allow for the informed consent process to move forward to at least explain that prior to them making the decision, which makes it radical and extreme. But again, I rise today because today, at this moment in time, I want to be a voice for the voiceless, a voice for the unborn, the most vulnerable amongst us, because they deserve a birthday.